Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. What do you call a frog when it takes pictures? A photographer.
That's a good joke. We were just talking about frogs and tadpoles, how they go through a really cool life cycle, don't they? So they start off as little tiny eggs. And then what do they turn into?
They turn into babies.
And so what is that when the egg hatches? What comes out?
A little baby mammal.
A little baby tadpole.
Little baby
A little baby tadpole. And then that little tadpole starts growing its little legs, and it's called a froglet. And then finally it turns into a
frog.
And that whole process is called the metamorphosis. Pretty cool, huh? So tell everybody, what supplies do we need today?
We need a paper, colored pencils.
Yep, or crayons or markers. You could use either one. We're going to use colored pencils today.
A ruler. And that's it.
Oh, and our pencils. Yep, because we're going to use pencils just in case we mess up. And that way we can erase it. So, all right, so we've got a paper here. Our Time for Kids, a land of new animals. That's probably one of the new ones they discovered. Scientists explored a rainforest in Asia. People had never been there before. They saw these animals and plants that no one had ever seen. Unusual finds. In February, a team of scientists said that they discovered a new land. They visited a place in Indonesia far from people, which is in Asia. It was full of animals. So, Alexis, can you read us about the mountains, please?
The team traveled to an island. They set up camp near a village. They went in the mountains.
Good. Look how green that is there in the mountains. The first visitors, can you read to us about Bruce Beeler? There he is.
Beeler led the group. He said there was not a single trail. He discovered a rare bird.
And there he has that little rare bird there. The unusual animals and plants. Can you read?
The scientists were amazed by what they found. Among the findings were 20 new kinds of frogs and 4 new insects, 1 new bird, and 5 new plants.
Here we go. Here's the jungle village. The Korba tribe lives near the spot where the scientists went. They helped guide the group. Where in the world? The team went to an area in the Foha Mountains. The area is in the country of Indonesia on the island of New Guinea. It is in the Pacific Ocean. And here's our thinking question. Think big. So everyone at home, think about this. How do you feel when you see something that you have never seen before? Alexis, can you share with us? How do you feel when you've discovered something new?
Excited.
And can you think of what is something that maybe you have discovered that you had never seen before?
Can
you remember the first time you saw something?
Technically a frog.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Real life. And I caught the frog, but it squealed like a cat, so I had to let it go.
So that was kind of a new discovery for you. Even though you knew about frogs, you had never actually picked one up before, had you?
And I got to hold it.
And it was exciting, wasn't it? It was a lot of fun. So we have an animal, or the animal count here. A family went for a nature walk. They counted the animals they saw. So we're going to look at this bar graph and see kind of what they saw. So it starts here with amphibians. Alexis, can you share with us some of the facts that you know about amphibians?
Amphibians, I think...
So how are they born? Think about how they're born.
They're born underwater.
So what do they breathe with when they're born?
The oxygen underwater.
Do they use lungs to breathe, though, under the water? No, what do they use when they're born?
Gills.
So amphibians will breathe with gills underwater when they're born. But then some of them will develop lungs later on, won't they? Now, what does their skin feel like for the amphibians?
Really slimy.
It is. It's like soft and moist and kind of slimy. What about their babies? What do they lay for babies?
They lay eggs.
So all amphibians will lay eggs for their babies. Now, what about their blood?
Their blood,
Is it warm or cold?
cold.
That's right, cold-blooded amphibians. And what is your favorite amphibian?
A frog.
A frog. Yeah, she loves those frogs. Let's see, next on our little list was the birds. So birds lay...
Eggs.
And what do they have on their skin?
Feathers.
And what are their... Do they have arms?
No.
What are they called?
Wings.
Yep, so all birds have feathers and wings. How many legs do they have?
2.
Yep, all birds will have 2 legs. And how do they breathe?
They breathe with oxygen.
But do they use gills or lungs?
Lungs.
They use lungs. And they all have what for like a mouth and a nose?
Bill.
A bill or a beak. Now, are they warm-blooded or cold-blooded?
Warm-blooded.
They are. They're warm-blooded. Now, what is your favorite bird?
A goose.
She loves, especially watching little baby goslings.
Down there, and the geese like to go down there. Now, there's like about I think 3 different families, and they have little babies.
And they're fun to watch them grow up, aren't they? They grow fast. They start off so little, and they're already about half the size of their parents. They're getting big. So the next on our chart is the mammals. Right there. So tell us some things about mammals. Oh, hi everybody. Somehow I switched it over. There we go. So now we have mammals. So what are some things we know about the babies? How do the mommies feed their babies?
With milk.
So they feed their babies milk. And what's on their skin? Do they have feathers or scales?
Feathers.
No, mammals. What do mammals have?
Oh, scales.
No, they have their fur. The hair and the fur. Remember, the mammals are the fuzzy ones. How do they breathe?
With lungs.
So they breathe with their lungs and they breathe the air. And are they warm or cold-blooded?
They are
Warm-blooded. So what is your favorite mammal?
My favorite mammal is the rabbit.
Rabbits are very cute. And we definitely see those around here, don't we? Very good. So we've got those 3 there. And then we're actually going to add on reptiles to our list. So let's talk about reptiles. How do they breathe?
They breathe with lungs.
Because some will go in the water, but they don't breathe underwater. So they don't have gills. And what is their skin like, the reptiles?
Their skin is like,
is it like moist and soft, or is it?
And soft.
Is it dry and scaly?
Dry and scaly.
Dry and scaly, good. Oh, and Madeline says that people are her favorite mammals. That's a very good one. People are good mammals. And what about the reptiles? So they've got the dry, scaly skin, and they are cold-blooded. So what's your favorite reptile? We like to hear everyone's favorite reptile too. If they have a favorite.
The alligator.
Oh, the alligator, yep. And we did a little study on those too, right? So we're going to add that to our little list. So we're...
Crocodiles, the small one. I like them because they're more shy.
Yep, they are pretty cute, huh? Very good. So now we're going to go to our paper here. So go ahead and grab your marker, Alexis. And it's asked us some questions here about this animal chart. So this is what a family did on a nature walk. And we often count our different animals that we see on our nature walks. So first we look at the chart, and it asks us how many frogs and other amphibians did the family see? So count your blocks and figure out how many amphibians did they see.
5.
Very good. So then you'll write 5 on the blank here. The next question asks, which kind of animal did they see the most of? So let me lift up the graph a little
birds.
bit. Because how many birds did they see?
6.
Good. So go ahead and write birds on your line. And as you can see, birds is spelled right here. B-I-R-D-S. And what do you think? You're going to write the word birds.
Oh.
And I'd like to hear, what are some other favorite birds that people have, if anybody has a favorite bird? I have a hard time choosing my favorite bird because I love birds so much. But the bluebirds are very pretty. So and that's our mammal. Our Polly is our mammal. So how many more birds did they see than mammals? We see up here, we said 6 birds. How many mammals did they see on their walk?
3.
3. So how many more birds did they see than mammals?
3.
And how would we figure that out in a problem?
6 minus 3 equals 3.
Good. Oh, and Madeline says she likes macaws. Those are beautiful birds. Very nice with all the different beautiful colors. Here's a bonus question. What if the family passed a pond and saw 4 fish? So on the graph up here on this blank one, you're going to write fish. So they chose to use fish for our 4th one. We chose to use reptiles because we like watching for the turtles. So fish, and then they needed 4 fish. So we'll use a pink, and you're going to color 4 spaces for the 4 fish. Now as she's coloring, oh, and Muriel loves the parrots. You girls like those rainforest birds, don't you? Those are beautiful birds. It would be fun to go walk through the rainforest. You'd really have a lot of creatures to count if you walk through a rainforest. So now we're going to get, as Alexis is coloring and everyone's coloring, we're going to get ready for our graph. But what we need to know first is, what is the largest number of creatures you saw? Whether it was amphibians, birds, mammals, or fish, which one was the largest number? Because that'll help us determine on our bar graph how many each space will count for. So as we're waiting for that answer, we're going to start drawing our graph. So go ahead and take your piece of paper. And I like to keep mine kind of long ways here. And unfortunately, I can't get the live video to flip over. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'll kind of lift it up to show you too. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to kind of put the bottom of your ruler at the bottom of your paper here so it lines up perfectly. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to draw a line on that bottom part. So unfortunately, it won't show you the whole thing on this video. So I'm going to go all the way across the whole length, and then I'll lift it up to show you. So there you can see we have a line that goes all the way across the bottom of our paper. So then you're going to take your ruler, line it up with that bottom line, or that line that you just drew, and then you're going to trace another line. So it looks like the Zayners saw the most birds when they were counting their creatures. So how many birds did you guys see? I know we ended up seeing a lot of birds too. And then on our one walk, we actually saw 147 frogs. I think they were getting ready to mate out there. So then after you have that second line all the way across, you're going to just put your ruler at that line and trace all the way across. And you're going to do that on your whole paper all the way up until you run out of space. And you'll end up with 7 spaces. So you just keep measuring it and going all the way up so that each one has an equal amount of space. There we go. And then the top's kind of a skinnier one, but that's okay. So you'll have a total of 7 lines. And the ruler is 1 inch. And so, oh, see, the Zayners went out in their yard this afternoon. And actually, we found 2. We were sitting outside, and we counted so many squirrels and chipmunks and bunnies. And then there's a little geese family that Alexis was telling us about that we ended up, we counted like 12 geese just down there. So, and they have 8 birds. So, okay, that helps us out to know, because it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yep, we'll make it work with doing each square being 2 then. That'll work. And then we had 2 lists of creatures we saw. One had such big numbers we'd have to count by 5s. So now what you're going to do, now that you've got your lines up here, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to put it at the edge of the left side of your paper, and we're going to draw another line right here. So we're going to measure down here, and this is going to be our counting blocks. And what we're going to do is we're going to count by 2s, since that'll fit our numbers as far as, let me double check ours. But yeah, I think the biggest we had was 10. Yep. So we can do it by 2s. So the first square here, you're going to put the number 2. I should say not the first square. We're keeping this bottom square blank. The second one up, we're going to write the number 2. And since we're counting by 2s, we're going to go 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Yep, that's okay. You can just see if you skip one, yep, that's okay. All right, so we've got our numbers here. So now Zaners, we're gonna let you pick your family color first. We're gonna use 2 different colors, one for our family and one for your family. So what color do you all want to use on the graph to represent the Zaner family? And that's what we're gonna put this in our guide down here. We'll put 2 little squares down here, and we'll write your last name, Zahner. And then we can't quite fit Walgamuth, so we're just going to put Wall for our last name. And then we're going to divide. Oh, they'd like to be purple. So we're going to color, make sure this one's purple. It looks a little bluish. So we're going to color the Zaner box purple. And Alexis, what color should the Walgamuth family be? Blue? All right, so we'll use this lighter blue here. So the Walgamuths will be blue. So that way when we look at the bar graph, we'll be able to see which family is which. So we've got our numbers here. We have the family colors here. Now at the bottom, we're going to write the 4 categories. So our first category was birds. So let's go ahead and write birds down here. Oh, Zahner. Is that right then? Maybe Zahner. Could be. Alexis is shaking her head yes. So thank you for correcting that. So we've got birds in our first category. And then next we're going to write mammals, which is M-A-M-M-A-L-S, mammals. We've got birds, mammals. And the next one we have is reptiles. So that's R-E-P-T-I-L-E-S. And if you want to, if you don't want to write out the words, you could draw a picture of a bird, a picture of a fuzzy little mammal. You could draw a turtle or a snake for your reptile. And you could draw a little froggy to represent your amphibians. So amphibians is A-M-P-H-I-B-I-A-N. Amphibians. So we've got all 4 of them. I'll lift it up a little so you can see. Birds, mammals, reptiles, amphibians. Those are our 4 categories. So we'll start with birds. And the Zaners, see, now I've got the Zaners on my brain. The Zaners saw 8 birds. So we're going to take their purple color, and you don't want to color a wide bar. You want it to be narrow because above the birds, we're actually going to fit a purple bar and a blue bar to represent our families. So for their birds, we're going to draw theirs all the way up to 8. Now I'm curious to know, do you guys know the kinds of birds you saw? Like those 8 birds, what they were? Because we notice that we see a lot of the same, once in a while we'll see a variety, but a lot of times we'll see the same kind of birds. So we've got the Zahner's purple bar that goes all the way up to 8. Now we have a couple different days that we documented. So I'm going to choose the day that actually we just walked down the road from us that actually is on the way to the Zahner's house. We just took that little walk down there, and we saw 12 birds. Most of those were geese and the little baby goslings, but we saw 2 of those were the red-winged blackbirds. So we're going to take our blue. Oh, and they saw orioles, brown birds, and barn swallows. And in fact, just recently we've been having orioles visit our house, which has been very exciting because I've wanted to see them, and we've had a male and a female come visit us. So our birds was also our biggest number, and we went all the way up to 12. So we're going to make a blue bar all the way up to 12 to represent all those birds that we saw. And sometimes we see swans too, but on this particular walk, we just saw the geese and red-winged blackbirds. So we've got our 12 birds here. Yes, that's what we've been cutting off the ends of the oranges, and I've been putting them out there for them, but I've only seen them come eat the oranges one time. They kind of come hang out. I have like this rainbow colored orb in my garden, and they keep going to that, trying to peck at that. So I tried to put the oranges near there, but they've only noticed my oranges one time. So I'm hoping they'll keep coming back because I like seeing the orioles. They're beautiful. So here we've got our purple, and our blue goes up to 12. So now our next category is mammals. So Zonners, how many mammals did you guys see while you were hanging out in your backyard? We ended up with 4 mammals on our walk. 1 muskrat, 2 squirrels, and 1 chipmunk. So our mammals just go up to 4. So then our blue graph here, it'll be a short one here for the mammals because we just saw those 4 little mammals. Sometimes we'll see more than 1 muskrat, but it was a little bit cooler out, so I think the other muskrat was hiding. So they saw 6 mammals. And what were those 6 mammals? So we're going to put the Zonners up to 6. So they'll go all the way up to 6. So you can kind of see our graph is already showing us that the Zonners saw more mammals than the Walgamoose did, but yet the Walgamoose saw more birds. And this is something you can do actually even in different months. Like as a family, you can take the creatures maybe that you saw in April, or maybe even every 2 weeks. You can see the difference of what kind of animals you see more so in the different months. So they saw 3 kids, rabbit, squirrel, and a mom. Wow. That's, 3 kids. Okay. That was good. They counted themselves because humans are mammals. That was clever. We did not think of that. But I guess, yeah, if we would have counted the 3 of us walking, but we'll just keep our little 4 mammals. So now on to our reptiles.
Or the people we saw on the walk.
Yep, that's true. If we saw anybody on the walk too, which I don't know if we saw anybody that day or not.
Did.
Sometimes we do, yeah. So now to our reptiles. How many reptiles did you all see? We saw just 2 turtles. So we're just going to put our little blue bar just up to the 2 line. Because we only saw the 2 little turtles. On warmer days, we see lots of turtles, but it was a little chillier that day, so the turtles were not hanging out quite as much. Let's see. Oh, they saw 1 reptile, Daisy the library gecko. That's a good one. So since we're only going to have 1, we'd only go up half. Since this bar will represent 2, you'd go up halfway for 1 for the reptiles. So there we have our little reptiles. And there are days that we've seen quite a few turtles on our walks, but it has to be warmer for them. And our last category is the amphibians. We actually saw 8 frogs, and most of those were actually bullfrogs that we saw. So how many amphibians did you all see? So we're going to take our amphibians and go all the way up to 8, which as you can see was the same number of birds that the Zonners saw. So here we go with our 8 bullfrogs. We've noticed a lot more bullfrogs this year. We've spotted 1 green frog so far, but mostly they've been bullfrogs. Oh, and they had 0. So we'll keep their amphibians right down to the 0. So here's our final chart. So you can see with the birds that the Zoners saw 8 birds, the Wallamoose saw 12. With mammals, the Zoners saw 8 mammals, and the Wallamoose saw 6. And, oops, I'm sorry, 6 and 4. I'm looking at it wrong. And then with reptiles, the Zoners saw 1 reptile, Wallamoose 2. Amphibians, 0 for the Zoners, and we saw the 8 for the Wallamoose. So and there's our chart, our graph, and this is called a bar graph. If it has pictures on it, that's a pictograph. But thanks for graphing with us.
Bye.
Bye. You want to tell them I don't know if they got to hear your frog joke. You want to end with your frog joke?
What do you call a frog that takes pictures? A photographer.
Bye, everybody. See you later.